Hello everybody, welcome to another survival news episode. Today we are covering the week of January 24th to January 30th, 2025. We have a number of updates with some pretty big games. Enshrouded definitely taking the king here for bringing in the most updates this week, but let's just get right into it. So first we have Medieval Dynasty. On January 28th, they released their Paint Your Town update, where basically after they kind of released village crests, they kind of wanted to basically give players some more customization options for their villages. So they introduced the ability basically to color buildings as well as put some patterns on the walls of buildings, which is, it's been pretty fun. I played around with it with a little bit, and honestly it makes the village rather cute, I have to say. Now the Paint Your Town update didn't just bring in paint, it also brought in a few other updates. They now have an economy tab. They have brought in remote storage, which has been amazing. I have loved that, as well as a take-all option. So, remote storage, obviously, that is, as long as you're within a certain perimeter of one of your storages, you can basically pull the resources from there when you're, building or crafting, so you no longer have to, go to your storage and then, put it actually in your inventory. You can just craft right where you are, which is amazing. They also said they fixed some problems related to animals leaving their pens, which I guess that's a thing. So if that was a problem, they were wandering away, hopefully they stay inside your pens now. There's also a new kind of update on item prices. So the dev said that they the item prices now take into account the condition of the item. So obviously, if you are selling something that is like 2% durability, the price is going to be lower than something that has 100% durability, for example. So you're going to have to kind of keep that in mind now. And they also put in building costs, which are now visible in the crafting menu. A bunch of other kind of things here as well. So really exciting. They also have house presets with sticks, logs, and stones. So you can just choose the exact kind of house that you want with the materials that you want to use. Typically beforehand you had to switch the walls and the roofs individually between sticks, logs, or stones. Now you can just choose the house that you want right from the build menu, just to save you a little bit of time. Definitely a quality of life addition there, which I certainly appreciate. They also have item stacking now with different conditions, so you can if you in your inventory, if you click the little item, you can see that any kind of stacked item has different conditions in there. So it's all stacked, but they definitely tell you the different conditions, if there are different conditions, durabilities and such on that item. So they got that. Obviously, like I said, you have now the take-all option. They've also added a memorial stone on the Oxbow map, which I'll probably make a video on at some point, but basically just to kind of honor someone who was rather vital to them. They also added some new sounds, a bunch of new sounds, to be honest. So that's kind of what we're coming with Medieval Dynasty. Some more quality of life stuff, some more customization stuff, lots of fun. Now, getting into Vampires Bloodlord Rising, and remember, this is formerly Vampires Dynasty, brand new name. On January 27th, they released a little video that kind of went into the story, if you will, of the game, and they wanted to answer the question that a lot of players have about kind of how story driven is it, and how versus how player driven is it. So if we're making choices, is that impacting the world, or is it a little bit more of a linear story? And they basically described the plot of this game kind of being it's a defined world, and it is a defined character. So there is a story that we're going to be following, but there is a wider kind of world for you to explore. There's NPCs out there that have unique ambitions in life that if you choose to do something with them could potentially impact certain parts of the game. And there's a lot of story choices as well that they believe will kind of test and define the morals basically of your vampire. So you might Depending on what you're choosing, you might go a little evil, you might go a little, kind. We'll have to see. So basically the idea here is that there is a defined world, there is a defined story, but there is some player choice that might affect certain things. So that sounds kind of like, I think it's very similar to the Valley map on Medieval Dynasty. If you guys have played that, I think it's kind of like going to be very similar to that, where we had a defined character, we had a story, and there's a few things here and there where we could choose where the story goes. So I think it's going to be very similar to that. So if that's awesome for you, then you know what? You might want to check out this game. Sengoku Dynasty had a little kind of like announcement on January 29th. They announced that they are having a console version. They're in development of that, and they're going to be exploring crossplay with Steam players on PC. So they're very excited about that. They're very excited about the concept of being able to bring in players no matter what they're kind of playing on, whether that's PC or console. They can meet up on some sort of server and play together. So that's kind of like their big announcement there, is that a console version is coming, and they are planning to bring crossplay for that. Now, let's get into Enshrouded. On January 28th, Enshrouded released the Pact of the Flame update, and oh boy, did they bring in a lot. Like, wow. So, first of all, they brought in some more kind of social features. The dev said that many players had asked for better ways to communicate, with their friends and with strangers and the servers. So, part of this was kind of a reaction to that. There's a text chat now that says Enshrouded supports in-game text chat multiplayer sessions, so you don't have to spell out your Discord name in blocks anymore, so you can just talk directly to them. Hosts, I can speak sometimes, or server admins can toggle the feature on or off in the server settings as needed. So obviously if you are playing something where you don't really need a text chat, you can just turn it off, which is kind of nice. And the feature is set off as by default it's off, so on dedicated servers. So if that is something that you want on your dedicated server, just make sure that you switch that to enabled. So we have that. Players can obviously select other players to mute their messages if they're, if they don't really want to hear what this person is saying. There's also a profanity filter, which they can be modified through players' Steam settings. So that's available there. And they also brought in a voice chat. So the voice chat can now be enabled by hosts, again, or server admins. The feature is once more set to off as the default, so if that is something, again, that you want in your world, make sure you enable it. And when enabled, there are two modes available. You have your proximity voice chat or your global server-wide voice chat. And in the social menu page, which is the brand new kind of tab that you should be seeing, players can mute other players and adjust their volume. They can also toggle their own microphone on or off. So, it's there for you to kind of play around with. And in the sound settings, players can also mute their microphones. They can use push to talk if they prefer that, or an open microphone, and they can obviously adjust their microphone input volume as well. So those things together, they kind of brought in something called a social hub. So that's kind of like the new tab in the in-game menu, which again is labeled as social. The social menu displays all players currently playing in the game world, and players can adjust audio and text settings there. And it's also possible to see everyone's server permissions and locate their position on the world map. So, you don't have to, if you lose someone, a lot easier to see them. And then finally for the social aspect here, they have also brought in emotes. So there's a new emote wheel, which offers some, emote animations. You can open up the emote wheel by I think it was like the X button. So it was originally the sitting action, which is X on the keyboard, and I guess that's a D-pad down on a controller. That is now basically the new emote wheel. So instead of sitting down, you're going to get a bunch of emotes. I imagine the sitting is one of those animations, but you're just going to have to go one step further if you want to sit down. Otherwise, everybody else who wants emotes, X on keyboard or D-pad down on a controller, and you should be able to access the emote wheel. Now, aside from that, they also brought in a number of building improvements, which, you know, Enshrouded is best known for for its building, so always excited when they bring in new stuff. One of the bigger things is they brought in the first-person camera for building, so when you guys are using your construction hammer, you can select like a prop for placement, or if you want to equip one of the new building tools, the camera can now be toggled to first-person view, allowing you basically to get really into like those tight spaces, or, you know, however you want to arrange it, but basically just making it a lot easier to have precise placement, which is great. So they have that. They've also brought in full rotation control for props. So props can now be rotated in all axes instead of just the vertical axis. So keep in mind that right now it's only available for decorative furniture and similar props. Furniture and interactive props like the flame altar, beds, benches, chairs, thrones, toilets, and similar can only be rotated on the vertical axis, like it was before. Building blocks and building shapes can only be rotated by 90 degrees as before. So this is just kind of like very specific to certain types of decorative furniture and those kind of props. Who knows if they'll bring that to the other ones, we'll have to see. They have also brought in a new kind of tool called an overgrowth editing. So it's a new building tool that's been added to the crafting progression. When equipped, it allows adding and removing various overgrowth materials such as ivy to and from building blocks. The new overgrowth tool can be crafted at the farmer NPC with materials from the Revelwood area. So basically the idea here is if you want to add some leaves, I'm sure if you've like explored the world of Enshrouded, you've seen some kind of gorgeous buildings that have like a lot of foliage on them or something. This tool now allows you to add that to your own if you want a little bit of ivy or, you know, whatever it is that you want to add just to make it up you know, a little prettier. That is now available to you, which is really, really fun. There's a building block decay tool, which basically allows adding or removing ruined block visuals at the edges of building walls. This new decay tool can be crafted at the Collector NPC with materials from the Nomad Highlands. So I believe that is those kind of, if you've encountered like a village, obviously, out there, and some parts of a building is missing, typically the corners, it's all kind of jagged and stuff. This tool will allow you to remove those harsh kind of corners, those jagged corners, allowing you to, I imagine anyway, basically replace that with a new block a lot more easy. You don't have to like go by one block anymore. So love that. That just makes building so much easier, so much nicer. They also now have food, drinks, and potion placement. So this is a new kind of type of prop that consists of, you know, plates and boards and coasters, which allows the decorative placement of a vast selection of food, drink, and potion items. So obviously we can actually now decorate our dinner tables with actual food on them. So very nice. And these can be crafted at the farmer NPC when wood planks are unlocked. Which I think I just did a video on that, funny enough. So, or if I didn't, it's going to be this month at some point. Anyway, so that's pretty fun, you know, elaborate banquet tables. Can't wait to see them. They've also brought in new props and materials. More than 70 new or previously unavailable props are now accessible for crafting and placing in a player base. This is the perfect time to try out the new placement rotation option, obviously. So a few, besides, they gave some examples, like we now have a set of elegant leather sofas. Gotta love that, relaxing after a day of adventuring. Various large statues, a new set of sturdy doors, including a massive vault door for those who want to make a little treasure hoard room, perhaps. New sets of braziers and lamps, numerous home decor props such as baskets, pots, and buckets. New types of room decorations such as room dividers and sigils as wall decor. 2 new building materials are also available, a yellow variation of the stained glass building blocks and a new stone wall terrain material, which is great. I always love working with stone, so I can't wait to really get into that one. There's a quest as well that introduces a new trader for vanity items and decorative props while we celebrate the Lunar New Year, just kind of like a special little event here. The trader will also stay as a permanent villager for the player base if invited by the Flameborn, so you can just bring them right to your village. You never have to worry about them disappearing. And then, obviously, they brought in a number of gameplay improvements as well. Skills can now be individually reset in the skill tree. Visual parry indications have been added to enemies that didn't show the parry opportunity before. So, there's that. A visual parry opportunity indicator has been added to enemy projectiles that could be parried. There's a new farming animal that can now be tamed in the Kindle Wastes, which I believe is the Dune Armadillo. So go ahead and get that. It's a new farming animal. We love that. Obviously, they've also fixed a number of bugs and glitches for like pathfinding and behavioral issues for villagers and farm animals. I know my villagers kept disappearing, so hopefully this fixes that. And if you had the same problem where they just kind of just wandered and then poofed away, hopefully this fixes that for you as well. And the dodge and blink can now be activated earlier during wand attacks to align the availability of defensive moves with the timing of melee weapons. So there's that as well. Now, besides all that, they also, as if they didn't do, enough, they have also released their 2025 roadmap. All the things they plan on bringing to the game, really in the coming year, and let's just be honest, it's pretty big. So if we go ahead and take a look at this, I've brought it in here for us. We can see that obviously they're going to be bringing in quite a number of things between gameplay features and content, vanity items, quality of life updates, building improvements, and then social features as well. A lot of these they have actually already done here in the month of January. A lot of the social ones have already been done, for example. But if we just take a look at this, they also plan on bringing new weather events, base raid islands, new moving traps, an improved shroud, so better visuals, locations, rewards for exploring it, improved nights where they're going to have more dangerous, creatures out there that bring new rewards. They're going to bring in new weapon types, which is interesting. I wonder if they'll kind of revamp the skill system to accommodate those. They're going to be bringing in an event system, a weapon gems customization, a jukebox so we can have some music. Nice. And that will obviously, I think, probably be tied to the play music together with NPCs. So, we're going to be making music. They'll be bringing in enemy patrols, so we'll have to see what that's all about. One of the bigger expansions is a water biome, so that's going to be really interesting. They also plan on bringing a hollow hall to the mountain biome that they released a while ago. The water biome that will be released eventually is also going to have a hollow hall too. They're bringing in new farm animals, a weapon vanity system, coloring station for armor, which I'm really excited about because I know there's some armor pieces that I would love, but just in different colors, so excited about that one. A barber NPC, new vanity clothing, new character customization options, which is probably going to be tied to the barber NPC, the ability perhaps to get some more hair items, and just, further character customization options, which is exciting. Can't wait to see that. We'll soon have the ability, sometime in 2025 anyway, to name pets, to name map markers, to auto-collect things, which is always good. They plan on bringing in an option to prevent item collection to the action bar. They'll have edible signs, and then they kind of already brought in some of this stuff, like the wall decay tool, the first-person building, free prop rotation. So a lot of this has already been in here. Now, besides that, they also announced, if this wasn't enough, because honestly, this was a huge update for Enshrouded, they also announced that spring 2026 is when they plan to have their 1.0 release. And it's kind of crazy that this game is early access, because I almost feel like it's almost so developed already that it's like, in some ways it's more developed than other 1.0 releases. But anyway, so 1.0 release coming in spring 2026, and they plan on having the console launch with that 1.0 release, as well as a creative mode and some more user-generated content features, which I'm really curious to see what the heck that all means. So so that is this huge update from Enshrouded. Amazing. I just love the game, love the team behind it. They're obviously very passionate about the game. And yeah, can't wait to see, all this stuff in the future. Now, outside of Enshrouded, because, oh my goodness, that was a lot, there's another game called StarRupture. On January 27th, they released their first gameplay trailer. You might be familiar with the dev team behind this new survival game. It is Creepy Jar. They are the devs behind Green Hell, which was a great survival game, lots of fun. Well, they are back with a new sci-fi kind of focused survival game called StarRupture. Now, this game, it's a big and super kind of like new exciting update from their team. With the gameplay, trailer shows like, the gameplay mechanics, its features, and just getting your kind of first glimpse into what we're seeing with this game. And they plan on releasing StarRupture in early access this autumn. So we got kind of like a year, a little less than a year until this game comes out in early access. So the gameplay trailer, they wanted to highlight, like their base building mechanics, where we're going to start with kind of like a small and humble base, and then eventually evolve into like a huge automated factory with lots of machines and buildings, and connecting all these things with a complex net of drone rails, as they say. And they also wanted to give us a little sneak peek of the very alien planet that's just filled with secrets as well. And kind of an interesting thing here, they say that this planet constantly changes due to the different moods of the Raptura star. So from what I understand, anytime there's gonna be like moments where the star will like have some sort of thing going on. I don't know if it's like an energy pulse or whatever, but in theory it's gonna change kind of like the landscape, the environment, the animals, the aliens that we're encountering. So it kind of gives me like a little bit of what Nightingale promised us with the kind of like the ever-changing gameplay in a way, or at least a very ever-changing environment. So that's kind of a very interesting little feature that I'm very curious about myself. They also released, or they mentioned that this is going to be a multiplayer game. You can play it solo, or you can have a up to 4-player co-op experience. And I guess the kind of core concept here, the idea, the story, is that we are all prisoners who are sent to the StarRupture world to pay back, their sentence, basically. So we can accomplish missions for corporations, gross, that will allow us to unlock new objectives and blueprints, and we'll be able to create new and more advanced constructions as a result. And, the more fortunate that we are with our missions doing them all, and the more that we, venture into the unknown of the planet, the more loot we'll have, and I guess more intense experiences, I guess. So we'll be doing that, and then obviously it sounds like we're also potentially going to be getting our base attacked by alien monsters. So you gotta work together with your buddies if you have them, or get yourself, ready for an alien attack yourself. But that is the kind of the first gameplay trailer of StarRupture. Pretty excited about that one, to be honest. I'm really curious about it. Now, finally, our last update comes from Permafrost. Again, they're kind of releasing a lot of stuff, which is pretty fun. On January 29th, they gave just like a little concept picture of the urban district region, and they kind of just wanted to show you just a little bit of like kind of like the flavoring, the theme of this kind of war-torn district that has a lot of rivaling factions in there, obviously fighting for supremacy, because what else? And our idea, or our plan, is to kind of go into that town and get our goodies as well, our rewards for doing all that. So, but it is a challenging, from what I understand, district. So, but it's gonna have probably like some side quests there. They said that you'll meet some memorable characters in that area, and we can search for quality tools and blueprints. And but we have to be careful, because obviously people are out there to murder us. So that's just like a little bit of a concept art of a potential location that we will be exploring when Permafrost comes out, whenever that might be. So, but that is the roundup, the survival game wrap-up, I suppose, of the week. Let me know what you guys are excited about, if any of this has jumped out at you, because there's a few things here that are definitely excited for me, looking at you, Enshrouded, especially. But yeah, that's about it. So I will see you guys next week. Until then, keep surviving and keep thriving.